United transfer news, and we are live. We're going to be starting off talking about this Manchester United double swoop for Harry Maguire and Wan Bissaka. Very interesting developments with this. Both of them originating from Sky Sports. Sky Sports are the ones who started off the Wan Bissaka story over the weekend. They then spoke about a £40 million bid being rejected. They then said that will Manchester United go back in or not. Then later on today, we've had Harry Maguire hitting the pages. I think it's funny, isn't it? I don't know whether Sky Sports watched the United stand. I don't know. We should be that meek and humble. We are a big, massive Manchester United community, after all, who speaks a lot of sense. I'm talking about you guys, not necessarily me. Maybe they do, because was it last night or the night before I said, logically, I think United are going to go for Harry Maguire. I predicted my signings and I said Harry Maguire is the player that I think United will go for. There he is on the page there. Heading, positional, pace. Is probably his weak point, isn't it? But positional and heading, very, very, very good in the air. And they're saying that Manchester United and Manchester City are in a straight fight for Harry Maguire. Cue the negativity, cue the frustration, cue the fact that we're not after him. I think there was a part of the story that sort of made me laugh, which was United are going head-to-head with Manchester City to sign Harry Maguire, and if they lose out, they're going to go for Koulibaly. I mean, it's like going head-to-head with a tennis ball, isn't it? With a Rottweiler, and then if you lose, you're going to go and take £1 million out your bank, where you could buy loads of tennis balls. Quite a shit analogy, that one. But what I'm trying to say is, you don't fight for Harry Maguire when you've got Koulibaly as your second choice. Just go for your second choice. And the reality is, I think we all know that Koulibaly is not an easy deal to do. And the reason we might be in for Harry Maguire is because we are after. We can't get Koulibaly and we can't get De Ligt. On Wan Bissaka, Crystal Palace bid for Klein, says X's Venom. I don't know. I don't follow Crystal Palace transfer news, so maybe if they are signing Nathaniel Klein, they're looking at Wan Bissaka going on. I certainly got to say, nobody will get us anything right in the transfer window. I've said quite consistently, I don't feel we're in for Wan Bissaka. It feels a little bit fake to me. But I've got to be honest and say that things are starting to gather momentum. So maybe there's something in it. Maybe there is something in it. I think it's unfortunate for Delo if it does happen. And I worry about it because we've heard a few people saying, well, maybe he's going to convert Delo into a right winger. And I start to want to pull my hair out, but I want to keep it. I don't want to go bold. But, I do not want to see Delo converted into a right winger. I nearly swore there. I nearly said the F word. I nearly went F me. Delo as a right winger. Is this what we've become? It's the sort of things Stoke do. Let's convert a right back into a right winger. No, we're Manchester United. We're looking at our biggest rivals, Manchester City and Liverpool, obliterating Europe, winning trophies with great football, and we're going to buy a right back so that we can use our other right back as a right winger. Forget that. I don't want that to happen. If we're buying Wan Bissaka, it's got to be the end of Delo, hasn't it? Because you can't go and buy a 21-year-old right back like Wan Bissaka and then think that you're going to still use Delo. It doesn't work. And I don't want him to be converted into a right winger. He's not a right winger. He's not a right winger at all. And that's not what Manchester United need. So if we're going for Wan Bissaka, I respect it. And I presume it's because Solskjaer isn't made up on Delo. And that's why we're doing it. Joe Alexander, did you see Van der Beek told his agent that United or Spurs would be right up his street via TalkSport? Good morning from California. Yeah, thanks for the contribution, Joe. And Pack376, Simon Stone's reporting on Maguire and Aaron Wan Bissaka. Sky Sports was spot on with their reporting of the 40 million bid and head-to-head with Manchester City. I disagree. I don't think Sky Sports have done anywhere near enough for people to go and live back up their arse. They've been wrong for a long time. They used to be brilliant, and then they linked up with Sky Bet, and everything went downhill. They were quite right about Daniel James. I'll give them that. If the Wan Bissaka's thing true, they're right about that. And if there's anything in Harry Maguire, they're right about that. But if you listen to what Simon Stone's tweet actually said, it was probably one of the most non-committal things I've ever read. Simon Stone, very good Manchester United BBC reporter. He basically said it's logical that Manchester United would be in for people like Wan Bissaka and Harry Maguire, but there's, Premier League clubs these days have got a lot of money and there's still a lot of weeks left in this transfer window, so it could go either way. And basically, anybody could say that, and that's nothing against Simon, that's nothing against Sky, but United might be interested in Wan Bissaka and Harry Maguire. It's quite logical. Well, of course it is. It's not. He didn't say we were in for them. He didn't say it was going to happen either. So, I think they're on the list. Camilio 10, our player of the season equals England's third choice left back. And Had you not realised United are shit? What are you expecting? Our player of the year is going to be the best player in the Premier League. We finished 6th, mate. What sort of statement's that? Luke Shaw was our player of the year and he's the third choice and third best left back in England. So what? We're crap. I think that's quite an achievement, really. Our goalkeeper's probably the third best goalkeeper in the world, and he was one of the best. He was the best a year ago. Paul Pogba's probably the 7th or 8th best player best midfielder in the world, and he should be the best. So I think it's a bit of a non-statement there. We are crap, and we're trying to rebuild. It's not a revelation to say that United's player of the year was the third best left back in the country. So what? We're shit. What about the Oblak story? What do you think on that, Elliot Murphy? I think it's a load of bollocks. To be honest with you. Bruce Parker's come out with a cracker here. You and all the other in the knows talk rubbish. Okay, right. We do get a lot of new subscribers on the United stand through the summer, and I do enjoy transfer chats with you lot over the summer, and we've been doing it for 4 or 5 years now. I'm not an in the know. I don't profess to be an in the know. The way the United stand works is it's a fan channel. It's always been a fan channel. We talk about stuff that's going on in the news. If you don't get that, go away. That's what we do on this channel. Everyone gives their opinion. I've told you one story. It's the only story I've got. I'm not in the know about Wan Bissaka. I don't know whether we're after Wan Bissaka or not. It's called a fan opinion. I don't know who the right winger is we're after. I don't know who the centre back is we're after. It's about looking at a situation logically, looking at who the good candidates are, and seeing what's realistic for Manchester United. I'm not an in the know, so please do not put me into that category. If you have me in that category, you're a little bit thick. You've obviously not been watching this channel for very long. What about we've done that one, and Bradley Hull, do you think we could consider paying off the toxic players we have simply to stop the new era being infected and up with the same situation? No, Bradley, that's not going to happen. I mean, look, the players that you think are toxic at United are not felt as toxic by United. Like, I can only speak for myself. Phil Jones, Ashley Young, Nemanja Matic, I'd get rid of them yesterday. They're liked at Manchester United. One of them's the captain of the club and was given a new contract 3 months ago. The other one, Phil Jones, was given a 5-year contract 3 months ago. And Nemanja Matic is well liked as well. They're the toxic players. They're not going anywhere. They're who we think are toxic as United fans, but they ain't going anywhere. So you need to get your head on that. The players that we're probably going to lose are players that you don't want to lose, like Eric Bailly, like Paul Pogba, like David De Gea. Ander Herrera's already gone. Juan Mata divides opinion, but the players that people really want to go, they ain't going anywhere. Phil Jones ain't going anywhere. He's just been given a 5-year contract. He's here for 5 years, so you got to, there's good and bad, isn't there? Nightmare TV, will we go for a right winger? I think it will be Lozano, Bailey, Pepe, Sancho, Bergwijn, or someone random like Under from Roma. What's your top 3 for right wing? It's more and more at the moment. I think it might be Gareth Bale. To be honest with you. I think the Gareth Bale loan is something that will get Ed Woodward very, very excited. I nearly said another word there. Bradley Hull, do you think... Yeah, we've read that one. Right, let's get the show back on track. Instead of chucking up comments at me about things that we're not talking about, can we keep that towards the end of the show, or put them up and I'll come towards them at the end of the show? We're talking about Wan Bissaka and we're talking about Harry Maguire. We're talking about right back. We're talking about centre back. As you can see, Wan Bissaka's on the page there. Right back, I think it's United or nowhere. £50 million is what we... £50 million, I don't think we should go above 50 million quid, because I think United have got about 250 million pounds, and I think that's what we've got to spend. So right back is probably 4th or 5th priority for United. Now, what I've been doing a few jokes on Twitter today, because I like winding people up, and I was saying, like, it's hilarious how United fans want to sign Wan Bissaka and they've probably never even seen him played. Unless you're a Crystal Palace season ticket holder, the only time you've seen Wan Bissaka play is on 5-second highlight reels on Match of the Day, because he didn't even play against United back in, was it March? Was it March or February we played them away from home and we won? Lukaku scored a couple of goals. Ashley Young scored. Wan Bissaka didn't play that game because he was injured. The last time Manchester United played Crystal Palace with Wan Bissaka in the team, I was at the game. It was Crystal Palace. Was it 0-0? Or it was definitely a draw. It was, and we were absolutely crap that day. Wan Bissaka did okay. Wan Bissaka is not a fast attacking right back for a start. He's not Kyle Walker. He's not Kieran Trippier. He's not like that. Defensively, he's very, very, very good. He is fast, but he's defensively very good. Think more Matteo Darmian than Luke Shaw. His defensive side of the game is the best side of his game. He massively needs to improve going forward. Hopefully he could do that. But as a defensive right back, he's very, very good. That's what Wan Bissaka is. So get your head around that. Don't start thinking is this brilliant attacking Cafu sort of right back. That's not what he is. He's 21 years of age. He's a very good defensive right back. But £50 million should be the ceiling. You go above that and you're starting to do silly things. He's not playing for England. He's not England's right back by a long way. He's nowhere near the level of a Kyle Walker or a Trent Alexander-Arnold yet. And remember, Trent Alexander-Arnold was a year younger than him. So he's not at that level. He's very good. He'd be a good signing. And he's a player to get excited about. But defensively, that's what he's all about. And if we go above 50 million, we're probably a little bit stupid. It depends how desperate we are. But the interesting thing is, there's a lot of weight to this story, I feel now. It's just how reluctant are Crystal Palace to sell him? Do Crystal Palace actually have a fee in mind? Is Wan Bissaka looking to move? Remember, it was only a few weeks ago he said he'll be a Crystal Palace player next season. Let's see what comes of that. Pablo Mendes says, I love the channel, fan from New York. Do you think Lukaku will leave? If so, what do you think our options are to replace him? I hope Lukaku will leave. I don't think we necessarily will replace him, though. I don't think we will. I mean, apparently we've been offered Icardi. Like, if you're not going to take Mauro Icardi, and I know he comes with a little baggage, but he's infinitely better than Lukaku. If we're not interested in a straight swap for a striker, that makes me think we want money for Lukaku because we're not actually looking at... You know, if you get offered a striker of the quality of Icardi for Lukaku and you turn it down, that to me suggests we probably aren't going to sign a striker if we get rid of Lukaku, because Martial can play as a number 9, Rashford can go there, Greenwood can go there. Your thoughts on having Wan Bissaka as a right wing back and Dalot as right winger? It makes me want to cry. That makes me want to cry. Absolutely makes me want to cry. Right, what did I just say to you about Wan Bissaka? Why is Wan Bissaka a right wing back? He's not an attacking mid. See, this is it. This is it again. Somebody who's not watched Wan Bissaka and thinks he's suddenly a right back. He's not a right. He is a right back. He's not a right wing back. He's not an attacking right back. He's a right back. That's what he is. In a back four, he's a solid right back that's going to keep. Is going to get that right. Basically, if we sign Wan Bissaka, he's got right back on lockdown because defensively he's brilliant. Ashley Young's shit. That's what he is. If you bring Wan Bissaka in and play him in a back 5, you're destroying what his strength is. His strength is a right back. That's what he is. He's not a right wing back. And how do you play Dalot as a right winger ahead of a right wing back? The whole point of a right wing back is that you don't play a right winger. So I think what you mean is, in a 4-4-2, could you have Wan Bissaka at right back and Dalot at right wing? Well, yeah, Wan Bissaka at right back would be a very good right back. I don't want Dalot as a right winger. I think it's amateur hour. I think it's ridiculous that you sign somebody who is a right back or a left back and then let's turn him into a right winger. I don't see the skills of Dalot. I know he can do that little step over shit that Phil Neville used to do, and I know he's got a good cross. But God almighty, there are quality right wingers out there. Somebody just mentioned them. Steven Bergwijn, Irving Lozano, Leon Bailey. There are some top quality right wingers out there. Why are we going to turn Dalot into a right winger? We don't need to do that. Shavesh Singh, Mourinho was wrong on a lot of things, but he was right about Dalot that he could be a great prospect. I think we are better off with someone like Mounier who could fill in for someone until Dalot matures. I would agree with you on that one, Shavesh Singh. I would agree with you on that one. A lot of people wouldn't though. So I'm going to give you a shout out, Gaz Lane, as well, just for nothing. You just said, can I have a shout out? You can have a shout out. So there you go. Please do smash a like on the video in return though, Gaz, and everybody else who's watching. And make sure you subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers. We've got loads of plans when we get there. Meetups, drinks, the lot. So make sure you subscribe if you're new, bottom right corner. There's Harry Maguire. He's 26. He's a central defender. He'd probably cost about £75 million. Man City are interested in him. Why are Manchester City interested in him? Because company's gone. So that leaves them with Otamendi, Laporte and John Stones. So he's a very, very good option for Manchester City. He's more, Manchester United need Harry Maguire more than Man City do. I think Man City are just, imagine if Man City get Harry Maguire. They only need 2 centre-backs to play. They've got Laporte, John Stones, Otamendi and Harry Maguire. I mean, what a selection of 4 centre-backs that is. What have we got? Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, Marcus Rojo and Lindelof. Lindelof's all right. The rest of them are crap. I mean, we need a centre-back of real quality. Do I like Harry Maguire? Yes, I do. Would I take Harry Maguire at Manchester United? Yes, I would. Why would you, Mark? Why do you like Harry Maguire? He's just an English... I'm trying to think of a bang average midfielder. Bang average centre-back, and I can't think of one, so that's backfired. But no, I like Harry Maguire for many reasons. One, you could put Lindelof right-sided centre-back. I don't really like Lindelof as a left-sided centre-back. I think he looks a bit like he's on the wrong side. Harry Maguire can play as the left-sided centre-back. Harry Maguire's confident on the ball. Harry Maguire can bring the ball out from the back. Harry Maguire doesn't make many mistakes. He's dependable. He is vocal. He is a bit of a leader. Remember, he took a penalty for England yesterday as well. He'll step forward. He's been in pressure situations. And above all things, Celine Dion, he is dominant, I say dominant, in the air. And that is what United need. So look, he's not De Ligt, he's not Koulibaly, but he does tick every box that we need. And if you can't get those two players, name me a centre-back in the live comments that's better than Harry Maguire, that is gettable, that isn't De Ligt and isn't Koulibaly. And don't say Ruben Diaz, because none of you have really watched him. I'd be happy to get Ruben Diaz. He's a very, very good centre-back. But Harry Maguire, I think, is a great option. Whether we could win the battle with Manchester City is another thing. If you're Harry Maguire and you are English and you know what English football's all about, Manchester United should be the dream. Man City should just be about mercenary money and I might win a title even though I won't play very often. You come to United, you can be part of something absolutely massive and you're going to play every week. So I'd be confident of United beating Man City in that race. It's whether you want to win that race. Talk is that they want around 80 million quid. Ridiculous. He's not worth that. I think 65 million pounds for Harry Maguire. Let's do the deal. Joe Alexander, would you be content with Bale loaned for a year to get Champions League football to then get Jadon Sancho next summer? Yeah, of course I would. I think anybody would. If that was what going to happen. Nick P. Mark, do you think we will still have a chance with getting Lozano? Was reading how United are his preferred option, but his agent is against it. United have got a bid, Nick. It's as simple as that. United have got a bid. They've got to be interested. I would be. Anup Aliapan says, we'll be concerned if we go into the season with Rashford as the main man. He's like Gabriel Jesus. We still miss a 20-goal striker like Aguero. Even Pedro should be second choice, right? Hope experienced striker comes in. I don't disagree with you, Anup. I think that Manchester United and a new striker would be a very, very good idea. But as we know, his name isn't Marcus Rashford. And I'm going to tell you off for saying that. It's Rashi. We all know his name's Rashi because that's the name that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has given him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loves Rashi. Rashi is going to be playing a lot of games next season, so we better hope that Rashi finds his form. I like Rashford, but I think his form at the moment is ridiculous. I think he's fell into the wrong crowd, not in the figurative speak. I mean, a lot of people don't like his relationship with Lingard. I just think mentally he appears to have fallen into the wrong crowd in relation to footballers of the past. Like Janusaj is a prime example, started off really well, seemed to think he'd made it, and then got lazy. And I think with Rashford, it's almost like he believes he's made it. And even when Rashford was playing well, we were talking on this channel saying he closes his eyes on crosses for a header. His final ball, whether it's a pass, a cross or a shot, isn't up to the standard it needs to be. He still needs to do a lot of hard work. Is he still hungry enough to realise he's still quite a way off? He's got the potential to put the work in. I hope so, because I do like Rashford, and he's not going anywhere. Solskjaer seems to think Rashi is the next big thing, and he needs to be, because he is going to be playing a lot of games. So I don't know that we're going to buy a striker when we sell Lukaku. Mark Witten, I would rather sign Griezmann over Bale, but don't want either. But Bale would be a worse signing considering the injury list that he has. You know what? I think in the summer months, Mark, we get attracted to these signings. Thanks for the contributions, Eco7. We get attracted to these signings and we think, oh, it's fine. But you're absolutely right there. What can't speak can't lie. Facts are there. Gareth Bale's 30. He's had a very, very impactful career. He's played a lot of football. He's a player that's about power and speed. And he's going to pick up more and more injuries the older he gets. If we sign Gareth Bale and we play 50-odd games because we're playing in the Europa League, I'll be stunned if Gareth Bale plays over 40. So, you know, how many important games is he going to miss? That's the thing with Gareth Bale, isn't it? This is why I'd be going for somebody who's looking to go to that next step. I'd rather get a Ziyech from Ajax. I really would. Yeah, he might not be as good as Bale, but he'll give us way more games. He'll give us way more of a career, and I think that's what United should be looking at. But I do feel that there is this need from Manchester United to do something amazing. Oh, look, we're still here. We can still sell shirts. We can still get fans excited. But how excited will fans be about a Griezmann, about a Bale? Because we've seen it all before. And will it excite fans? I don't know until it happens. Rashi heads the ball like he's on stealth at Thorpe. says L098. We've got loads of people watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers, so please subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, click the bell as well if you subscribe, get your notifications, because we could be live again at 11 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock in the morning, midday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You just don't know. We're in that unknown zone now with Manchester United and transfers, where we could be going live about anything at any time. It's very exciting. It's the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen, so please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And please do share the video as well, because if you click the share button, you can share it on Facebook and Twitter, and we could go over 10,000 people watching for the first time in this summer transfer window. We haven't had that since, I think, the last Premier League game we were doing a watch-along on, so please do share the video. Rashi had... Yeah, we've read that one. You've read that one. You've read that one. Let's talk about Pogba very, very quickly. We can bring Pogba into the situation. Please explain how Fernandes and Pogba will work together, says Sack Pulferente. I like that question, and Paul Pogba's on the screen at the moment. £150 million. Juventus and Real Madrid would be the two clubs that are highly interested in him. Low interest from Barcelona, obviously. With regards to Pogba and Fernandes, first of all, if we sign Bruno Fernandes, which I think we're going to, he can play box to box, but he has an emphasis on attacking football. So how could you play Pogba, Bruno Fernandes and Matic? Matic would be exposed like the slow, boring footballer that he is. So Pogba, Fernandes, does it work in a 4-3-3? Probably not, because you've got to restrict Pogba, or you've got to restrict Bruno Fernandes to support Matic, static Matic. So yeah, I can see people's concern there, and I can see why people think, is Bruno Fernandes being brought in as a Pogba replacement? But it's not necessarily the case, because if United do what Ollie was doing towards the end of the season and plays a 4-4-2 with the diamond, you'd have Matic at the hole, maybe Pogba or Bruno Fernandes next to a more box-to-box player, maybe a Rabiot or a Thomas Partey, and then you'd have Pogba or Bruno Fernandes as the head of the four. So that could work that way. However, I think United play better as a 4-3-3. How do you play Bruno Fernandes, Pogba and another midfielder? Well, you can do it. You play a box-to-box. You play a centre defensive midfielder who's like Kante, somebody who's very energetic and very quick. Thomas Partey could do it. Rabiot could do it. You can't play Matic, Bruno Fernandes and Pogba, though. It won't work. Matic will get absolutely slaughtered because he's too slow. You'd have to bring another CDM in who's very, very mobile. And maybe we will do that. So there are options. With regards to Paul Pogba, I would say with regards to Paul Pogba, a little bit to talk about with him. There was a story, let me get this right where it comes from, because I don't like to get things wrong. Corriere dello Sport, Italian outlet, speaking that Juventus have sort of had a little bit of a chat with Pogba, who's open to a move. The problem Juventus have is, obviously they bought Ronaldo last year for a lot of money, and to get Pogba they need to sell players, i.e. Cancelo, Dybala, Douglas Costa. There's a little bit of mentioning maybe United might take Douglas Costa as part of the deal, which, to be honest with you, he's a right-wing option. What worries me about Douglas Costa, he's another player who's about 28. He's been at Bayern Munich. He's been at Juventus. He's done good bits, but he's not shown consistency. So why would Douglas Costa be a good signing for United? Again, a player that's been at two big clubs, not been able to hold a place down and be consistent. Why is he a player that United need when we're building for the future? I don't know that Douglas Costa is, but maybe I think Juventus want Pogba. I think Juventus want De Ligt. I think Ronaldo wants those players around him because he wants a team that can win the Champions League. And I think Juventus want to be almost like Real Madrid were. They want to have the best team in Europe. They want to win the Champions League. They can win the bloody Serie A with their eyes closed. They want to win the Champions League, and I think they would like to bring Pogba back, and I think Pogba would be open to that. It's how they generate the money. With Real Madrid, again, I think the story from Real Madrid, this was from AS, who are a Spanish outlet. Real Madrid want Pogba. Again, maybe they've got to generate a bit of money to do that, but United don't want to sell. United don't want to sell to Juventus. United don't want to sell to Real Madrid. So there's this feeling that Pogba's got to make a gesture. Pogba's got to make a gesture, whether it's to Juventus or to Real Madrid. And by gesture, what they mean is Paul Pogba's got to say he wants to leave Manchester United, and then everything changes. But will Pogba do that? Pogba's only going to do that if he knows, because to do that, he's not. Let's be honest. I like Paul Pogba. I don't think he's fulfilled his potential at United for various reasons. Let's not get into that. I do like Paul Pogba. He's on the screen there. I like you, Paul. But if he says, I want to leave Manchester United, he already divides opinion at United. So he's screwed it. He can only say, I want to leave United, if he knows for a fact that either Real Madrid or Juventus have got the money to get him. And that's the thing. It's whether Pogba pushes it or not, or whether he's got the balls to push it or not, or whether he thinks, you know what, I'll just stay where I am. That's going to be the interesting thing with Pogba, because the minute Pogba says, I want to leave to United, it will come out, everyone will know, and then, you know, half the people who like him, some of those will dislike him, and half the people who don't like him will be like, yeah, up yours, don't wear a United shirt again. And he'll have to go. So it's an interesting one with Pogba. Watch this space. Vivek Jayachandran says, we have a striker. His name is Martial. He was a number 9, remember? Look, Martial at some point has got to move into the number 9 position. He has. Maybe now is the time. Jimmy Marseille says, it's the first time commenting. Love your show. Been a fan for years now. I'm from New York. What do you think about Van der Beek and our chances of getting him? I'm going to talk about Van der Beek a little bit more in depth on the transfer show tomorrow, because I've got a couple of more things I want to talk about tonight. So I don't want to go in depth on Van der Beek. Suffice to say, I'll talk about him more in depth on Transfer Daily tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So make sure you watch it. But he's an interesting option, and I wouldn't say no. More tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Turborak says, Independent says United is going for centre-back William Semina from Saint Etienne. Your thoughts? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I mean, I don't really know anything about the kid for a start. Saint Etienne centre-back. Straight away, I think, well, Saint Etienne. Pub League. I'm sorry. I don't rate the French league below about 3 or 4 teams. So why would I want a Saint Etienne centre-back at Manchester United? I'm sorry, I know next to nothing about the lad, and I'm sorry, maybe he's going to be the next Koulibaly, I don't know. But why would I think that a Saint Etienne centre-back is going to be a leader, experienced and domineering and better than Lindelof? I'll be stunned if he is. So to me, it's not the right signing for United. No. And I know next to nothing about him, but that's not the profile of centre-back that we need. We need somebody who's going to come in, be the best centre-back in that team, domineering, brilliant in the air, good on the ball, and can play with Lindelof. That's what we need. And preferably over the age of 22. Unless they're the little Diaz who've shown that they've got big heads, experienced heads on young shoulders. Maybe the Saint Etienne ladder has, but I've never bloody heard of him, so I doubt it. Piman Patel says, will Sanchez be out before the new season starts? I feel Alexis Sanchez will be here next season. And I think that is why this summer for Manchester United is not a magic wand. It's not Harry Potter coming in and doing a spell and everything's great again and we're challenging for the title. I don't think there is a summer that United can have that makes us title challengers. I think this is a first step. I think there's going to be lots of trips over next season, because we've still got a lot of players that just aren't good enough. You know, Ashley Young's still going to be here. Matic is still going to be here. Phil Jones is going to be here. Lingard's still going to be here. Other players that we maybe think aren't good enough are still going to be here. And Alexis Sanchez could still be one of those. How do you offload Alexis Sanchez? We need to do it. If we get rid of Sanchez, I will applaud Woodward and the board and Solskjaer and say, bloody hell, what a masterstroke that is. He's worth 40 million because that's what we paid for him, because it was a swap for Mkhitaryan. He wasn't free. He's on 400 grand a week and he's got 3 or 4 years left on his contract. How do you remove a player? And everybody knows how crap he is as well. So how do you get rid of a player like that without taking a huge loss? I don't think we'll get rid of him. I don't. I'd love to, but I just don't. Pjanic is a good option, but 29 if Pogba moves to Juventus as part of a deal. A good CDM, right? Also, your opinion on Nicola Zanola from Roma, linked to him. I think we're just getting linked to loads of people now, Anoop, so I'm not even going to profess to know a lot about that player. He's not a player I've really looked at in any depth, and he's not a player that I've heard that we're linked to for United. With regards to Pjanic, I think you've sort of answered the question there. I mean, he's a good player, Pjanic. We were linked to him probably 2 or 3 summers ago. He went to Juventus. At his age now, you're into Rakitic areas, aren't you? And I didn't want Rakitic. I know Rakitic is 2 years older, but I just think if we're looking at a player who's over 28, they've really got to tick every box, because if they're over 28, what's the longevity in it? Take the hit and move on with Sanchez, says LJ. Yeah, probably. I tell you what, you're knackering me out tonight, girls and boys. You're knackering me out. We've only been live half an hour. Feels like we've been live for bloody ages. There's so many good questions coming in and So much to talk about as per usual. What will happen to Fred, says Libogang Mincy. I personally think with Fred, and get your comments in, I predicted this the other night. I think with Fred, he'll be sold next summer, not this summer. I think he'll be a bit part player next year. I don't think the club fancy him, but I don't think they can sell him after 1 year. So I think that Fred will go in a year, and I think we'll see bits and bobs of him this season. But I don't see this big renaissance. I think some people are thinking Fred's going to be like a new signing. I don't see it. And the reason I don't see it is because Solskjaer didn't treat him like he was a player that Solskjaer really rates that much. So, and maybe Dalot falls into that category, because if we sign Wan Bissaka, what's the point in Dalot? He's 19, I think he's 20 now. There's no reason to throw him on the scrap heap and buy another right back, who's especially one that's 21. But if United do that, I think that's the scrap heap for Dalot. I don't see what Dalot's going to be. I mean, yeah, he can play at left back and he can be a backup, but so can Ashley Young. So what's the future for Dalot? And also, I think the worrying thing about Dalot, and if you want Wan Bissaka, the big sign that we may well be signing Wan Bissaka is, if you sign Wan Bissaka, you don't see Ashley Young anymore. You can't spend £50 million on a right back and then still pick Ashley Young. So that's the great positive that everybody's dancing in the streets naked to. But if Dalot really was the future for Manchester United under Solskjaer, why did he keep picking Ashley Young throughout the season? I mean, Ashley Young got worse and worse and worse from January. He got so bad, you could have put a traffic cone at right back and it would have had a better game. But still, he didn't pick Dalot over him. So that, again, is a big hint that for whatever reason, Solskjaer and the coaching staff don't actually rate Dalot ahead of Young, which is why maybe we're going to sign a right back. But what does that mean for Dalot? This crap about converting him into a right winger, it really is the sort of thing that Preston North End do in the Championship. Oh, we can't afford a right winger. We've got two right backs. Let's try and turn them into a bloody right winger. It's so amateur. It's so. Can you imagine Pep Guardiola doing that? Ding, 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 ding. Can I go and buy a right winger? Not really. We'd rather keep the money for ourselves. It don't matter. Don't matter. I've got two right backs. I've got Danilo and Kyle Walker. I'll just turn one of them into a right winger. It's fine. We'll battle for sixth. Don't worry about it. Weak mentality. We cannot do things like that. Cannot do things like that. Someone talk about Woodward's Facebook post. It's a fake post. Let's move on. What's the news on your That's Football channel about the three players, says King Nubs. Maybe go and watch it, because this isn't That's Football. This is the United Stand. Young will be left back up, says VDS Light. Imagine if Ashley Young became first choice left back and Luke Shaw got dropped. Yeah. Anup Aliapan, Pogba, Fernandes, Andres Pereira still an option. Nah, Pereira's not got the mobility to be a centre defensive midfielder. You need. I think Pogba, Fernandes, Kante would be a dream midfield. You've got to get a midfield. If you're going to pay Pogba and Bruno Fernandes in a midfield three, you've got to have a CDM who's very energetic, who can break the play up and feed those two players. You cannot have static Matic, McTominay, Fred or Pereira. We haven't got the player to play that position. You'd have to go and buy one. Eric Bailly, Reg plays. I don't know what the future is for Eric Bailly. He seems to be enamoured by Manchester United, but again, I think he's a player like Fred, like Dalot, that maybe the coaching staff don't like. Interestingly, on Wan Mata, I did say this morning, I think, about Mata. The longer it is that he hasn't signed this new contract, the more likely he is he's going. Because he can't fit. Look at Herrera. Herrera has said that he's going, but he won't announce where till July the 1st. Mata can't do the same. So, in fact, Mata is in Spain at the moment, but he is Spanish. So people are putting two and two together and saying, oh, he's signing for somebody. He's on holiday. He doesn't play for Spain anymore. He's on holiday and he's Spanish. So Mata being in Spain doesn't mean he's not going to stay at United. Maybe Solskjaer wanted to develop Dalot a bit more, as when he came in last season was a dead loss, so did not want to burn him out. Maybe. Joe Holdway, maybe. You're right, maybe. David Mills says, I agree, Martial at number 9. I think Maguire and Wan Bissaka would be amazing. Eggplant emoji, amazing, with a CDM and right winger. Really need to start pruning the deadwood, though. Look, whatever. If we do get Wan Bissaka, the one thing I would say is, whatever that means for Dalot, it does mean that you've got a very solid defensive right back in Wan Bissaka. Defensively, he's absolutely superb. And Young is crap. So straight away, you've got a better back four. I mean, look, if we manage to keep De Gea, I'm very happy with Luke Shaw. I'm very happy with Lindelof. You buy a top-class centre-back, whether it's Maguire, Koulibaly or De Ligt, and you get Wan Bissaka, you've suddenly got one of the best back lines on paper in the league. Whereas at the moment, we've probably got a worse back line than Southampton. So, you know, those two, centre-back and Wan Bissaka, makes us defensively much stronger. Spurs converted Bale into a right winger and it worked, says Mr. Match. So you're now comparing Dalot to Gareth Bale. Nice one. Yeah, I can totally see why you've done that. And Chloe Jenkins says, if Dalot feels left out, do you think he could badmouth Ollie to Bruno? I think that's a big step. I mean, it could happen, Chloe, but I doubt Dalot realises he's been left out yet. So by the time he rings Bruno up, I think we'll hopefully have him signed. So no, I think we'll be okay with that one. But you never know. You never know. You need to deal with your sinus, Mark, says Swish Dish. I am. It's been going on for a long time. I already am dealing with it. So don't worry about it. And thanks for the consideration and well spotted. What's your opinion with Rashi next to Greenwood, says Tyrone Films YouTube? How does that work? Because this front two thing is a bit of a myth, isn't it? It's a bit of a myth that you can play a front two in the modern game. You've got to play one playing off the other. I'll tell you what, to be honest with you, don't talk to me about that sort of thing if you can help it, because I don't know about you lot, but when people talk to me about Rashford or Lingard or Martial, I'm not over last season yet. I'm not into the positivity of next season's team yet to start thinking, yeah, let's play Rashi. They still irritate the crap out of me from last season. I'm not over last season, to be honest with you. So I can't talk about Matic or Pogba or Rashford or Martial or Lingard or Jones or Yacht. I just can't. It's too soon. It's too soon. It's too soon to last season for me to start talking positively about those plonkers who destroyed our season last year. Because I firmly do believe if those idiots had actually got us fourth place like they should have done, we'd probably be signing Jadon Sancho and we probably would have a great chance of getting De Ligt. But because we're in the Europa League, I think those two signings have disappeared, and I really do think they were on. I really do. So it's still too raw for me to start talking about the plonkers from last season. Keith, give me a month, I'll be all right. Kevin Vargas says Lozano wants United deal. Why United not offering him a deal? Look, Kevin, as I've said before, a lot of us wanted Fabinho. United never went in for him, and he went to Liverpool. United will go for the players that they think are right for them. They're not going to go for the players that we think are right. In the main, they're not. So you can really want a signing. A lot of people want Ndombele, and they've been going on about him for a long time. I'll be stunned if United sign Tanguy Ndombele. I'll be over the joyed moon. I'll be jumping over the moon. I'll be absolutely so happy if Manchester United sign Ndombele, but it's probably not going to happen, is it? It probably isn't. It probably isn't. Patrick Doyle, what do you think a realistic starting lineup for United next year will be? Off the top of my head, realistic. It's not definitely going to happen, so don't get excited. Hopefully retain De Gea. Let's say Wan Bissaka at right back, because we're in for him at the moment by the looks of it. Lindelof right-sided centre-back. Harry Maguire left-sided centre-back. Luke Shaw. That's your back four. Back five. Very good. Holding midfielder, Rabiot or Thomas Partey. Right-sided midfielder, Bruno Fernandes. Left-sided midfielder, Paul Pogba. Front three, I still think Martial off the left. Rashford up front. And then off the right, Gareth Bale. I don't know. I think the right wing position is so in, and also if we do sell Lukaku and Anthony Martial is going to be the backup number 9, who's playing on the left wing? Because don't tell me it's Daniel James. He ain't ready. He ain't ready for that. He's got to be. Daniel James has got to be. What's the word? Staggered into the team, I suppose. Exactly what we did with Ronaldo. Start him on the bench, last 20 minutes, see how he does. Start him in a game, take him out of a game, last 20 minutes sub. That's what we've got to do with Daniel James. He cannot be thrown into the team straight away. It's not fair on him, and I don't think it would work. So who's going to be our left winger? Alexis Sanchez, by any chance? The man who's got it in his contract? Pumpkin Spiced Latte says, who are you excited to watch during pre-season in our current squad? Absolutely nobody. At the moment, nobody. I'll be excited. I'm excited to watch Daniel James. I'm hoping that Greenwood gets some game time. But beyond that, I'm not excited by anybody, because they don't deserve excitement. I'm not excited to watch Martial or Rashford. I was excited to watch them in the last 3 months of the season, and they couldn't be arsed. So at the moment, Greenwood and James would be the two I'm excited to watch on the tour. And hopefully we'll get a few more signings, and then my excitement levels will move up. Do you think Rashford will injure less disabled kids this season with his free kicks? Says Caleb Minar. I'm not aware that he injured any, to be honest, but I think he needs to get his free kicks trajectory down by about 50 metres, doesn't he? And then it might just hit the top of the bar. What do you think about United trying to buy the best defensive right back in Wan Bissaka and City trying to buy one of the best attacking right backs in Cancelo, says Martin Rustad. You know what? I'm going to be absolutely fair there. So if Wan Bissaka is one of the best defensive right backs in Europe, which he isn't, but he's in England, which he is, and Cancelo is one of the best attacking right backs in Europe, which he maybe is, what's better for Manchester United? To be honest with you, the better thing for United is the defensive right back. We are weak. So many teams attack United. Don't go back and watch last season. You don't want to depress yourselves. But if you can remember it like I can vividly, if a pitch is a percentage, I would say 70 to 80% of teams attacked us down Ashley Young's side because they know he's crap. So what's more important to United, an attacking right back or a defensive right back? Now let's not forget, Delot is a very good attacking right back. Defensively, he's not quite there yet. Young is not good at either. If Wan Bissaka's a very good defensive right back, then you're going to start to limit the teams going down our right hand side, and they're going to have to switch the play, which balances the game up. So, yeah, you know what? Man City are a different team to us, so maybe they do need an attacking right back. That's what they do. But for United at the moment, I think the defensive side of the game is probably more important. I know people don't want to hear that, but we need to shore up that right hand side. We've shored up the left hand side. Bring Chong through, he will be a good plus, says Joe Holdwell. Look, I really do hope that people like Gomez and Chong and Greenwood and even the likes of Garner get given a chance next season. But if they're not going to get a chance, then they should be going on loan. Which makes me talk about Timothy Fosu-Mensah. There was an update on him. Remember, we've been talking about Fosu-Mensah and saying, oh, I hope he gets his chance. I hope he's given a chance on the tour. By the looks of it, he ain't going to even be back he won't be back till January, by the looks of it. His injury's really bad. So Fosu-Mensah is... forget about it. You know, he looks like he's out for a long time. It was a bad injury, so he ain't going to be on the tour anyway. So forget about Fosu-Mensah. He is probably not even going to be in consideration, let alone sold, until January transfer window by the looks of it. So that's a bit of a shame. Which answers your question, Joseph DeHay, that you were just saying about that. Super chat coming in from Sean D. He says, if Daniel James isn't ready to start on the left wing, neither is Delot as right back. Hence the need to sign Wan Bissaka, Mark. I think that's a bit too literal, to be honest. I don't agree with you. It's your opinion. Well done. But I don't agree with you. Daniel James is coming up from the Championship, and you want him to play in a top 6 side on the left wing. I think it's really unfair to do that. Delot has played in the Champions League for Manchester United. He's played quite a few games for United last season. He should be ready to be playing first team football regularly next year. There's a big difference between what Delot's done last season. He's had a lot of Premier League football. He's had a lot of Champions League football. Daniel James is 21 years of age. He's older than Delot, but as a footballer, in relation to his journey, it's worlds apart. Yeah, he's played a bit of international football, but bloody well, who hasn't? You know. Actually, I haven't. Larice reports as De Gea replacement now, says Ben Murray. Oh, look, I played in goal for United Stand FC at the weekend. I only conceded 1 goal. What about me replacing him? Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm going to keep pushing this, and please do help us with this. So please share the video. There's a share button. Please do like the video. There's a like button. And please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. The sooner we get to 500,000 subscribers, the sooner we can reveal some of the things that we've got planned, and it will involve you. And do remind me tomorrow night on the show to give the details of the United Stand's next 2 games. We've got 2 games coming up, Sunday and the following Saturday. They're around the London area. We had a few people turning out on Sunday. We want to get that United Stand Barmy Army growing. So remember, you can buy United Stand shirts and polo shirts, a link in the video description, and if you bring them down to the games, we'll get them signed up for you, or whatever, photos, whatever, everything you want. Really enjoyed it on Saturday, and it was a good game. The thing is, we entertained. It was a very good game, so you can join us for that. But please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner, click the subscribe button, and make sure you click your bell to get your notifications of any time we go live. I think it's going to be a very, very exciting few weeks for Manchester United. I don't even know where to start. There's so much that needs to be done. There's so much that needs to go out the door. there's still two massive players like De Gea and Pogba that we don't know what they're going to do. I'm fingers crossed hoping they're staying, because if we have to get involved in selling them, they're going to be such significant deals. I think they're going to take up so much time that it probably means we'll miss out on some signings. So I hope that they do end up staying. Links in the video description for the shirts, Christopher Anthony. United need to cherry pick the Premier League. I'd hate to compare us to Liverpool, but it's worked with Mane and Van Dijk. Why can't it work with Harry Maguire and James Maddison? Brilliant comment from Archie Ralph, one of our members. Very, very good point. Very, very good point. I think Premier League proven's important. But I also think that what Simon Stone said is actually very, very correct. Premier League clubs don't need to sell as much as they needed to do probably 5 years ago. They're all very, very well off. So it's like Pogba at United, isn't it? It's like Koulibaly at Napoli. Harry Maguire's the same at Leicester. Do Leicester need to sell? No. Do Napoli need to sell? No. Do United need to sell Pogba? No. The thing that kicks those deals up is the player saying they want to leave. If the player says they want to leave, those transfers will happen. If Koulibaly tells Napoli he wants to go, it will happen. If Harry Maguire says to Leicester, I want to go, it will happen. If Pogba says to United, I want to go, it will happen. If they stay quiet, it won't happen, because the clubs don't need to sell those players. I'd still take Nani at United even now at 32, says Roger Watson. No. Well, you would. No, that's not, I can't go, no, you're wrong, Roger. It's your point. Well done. It is your point. I wouldn't. I think that we need to be looking to the future, not the past. And he's too old at 32. There's no future in that. He's infinitely better than anything that we've got, though, I must admit. Anyway, I've really enjoyed the show tonight. Please smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, and if you're new, let's get 500,000 subscribers as quick as possible. So please share, subscribe. I'm back. Transfer Daily is back at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Normally it's 7 a.m, but this morning I did it live because I knew there was a couple of things I wanted to talk about that I needed to research to do it live. So I did the Transfer Daily live this morning. It was all about the latest news about Bruno Fernandes. If you haven't watched it, why haven't you watched it? Because you should have your notifications on, click your bell, and you should be subscribed. But also, there was a very, very big development on Bruno Fernandes from a good, reliable source in relation to United. So hopefully you've watched that. If you haven't, go to the homepage and watch it. It was the last upload. I'll speak to you all tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on the dot UK time, Transfer Daily. Thanks everyone tonight. Really enjoying these shows. You're knackering me. I need a deep breath, but I really enjoyed it. So thanks everyone, and I'll speak to you all soon.